right? So we do this every week. We talk about money, personal finance, the economy, how it relates to you. Though we want to make it like bring it to you, to your kitchen table, right? How all this money talk can be useful to you. So this week, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, right? They released their quarter two 2022 trade report. So that report essentially will documented, like Nigeria's trade with other nations, our imports, our exports, who we are exporting to, who we are importing from. And I just thought it was going to be a good idea for us to use that report as a basis, right, to talk about exports and how we can, how we can benefit from it. Of course, the reasons are very, very obvious. In Nigeria right now, the economy is recently in a slowdown, right? And we've seen the naira, the official currency of Nigeria, we've seen it devalue. Unofficially, it's above 700 naira to $1. Officially, we're seeing the dollar is still about 435. But during the week, the finance minister said there has to be a devaluation. She was talking to Bloomberg and she said there has to be a further weakening of the Nigerian currency, right? So that means there's going to be a devaluation. What the devaluation means, of course, is that the official currency, the naira, will now, the value would weaken. So we'll go from maybe 435 to maybe 500 or 460, I'm not sure. But unofficially, it's 7. So use that as a benchmark for you. What this means for you is that if you are earning dollars, you are in the best place possible because now you are earning a currency that is appreciating, that you can convert and you can pay your local bills, right? Let's not even get into inflation. If you are holding the naira, you are basically holding a currency depreciating by about 19% on an annual basis right now due to inflation. The dollar also depreciates, but holding a dollar is less, about 7-8%. Naira is about 19%. You don't need to be a genius to figure that one out. So in terms of earning a different currency, in terms of divesting, and avoiding inflation, exports is the way to go, right? We had done something about with exports before Mr. Emmanuel, where we brought him in, and he's an exporter for many years. You're going to hear him talk, right? And he talked about where he exports to, what he exports per se. I'm going to share on the tweet now those products that Nigerian Bureau of Statistics has identified as Nigeria's main export crops, right? I mean, the number one is cashew. So cashew nut in shell is the number one export out of Nigeria. That's non-agri, right? Cashew nut. Number two is sesame. They spell it here as sesamum. I don't know what that means, but I think it's sesame street. Sesame seeds is the number two export out of Nigeria. And of course, the third guy is going to be cocoa. So cocoa used to be number one. Cocoa has come down all the way from number one to number three. Then sesame nuts is number four. Then natural cocoa butter, number five. So, I mean, you're talking about cashew, sesame, and cocoa. Those are the three things here that the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics has identified. There's also coconuts. Like coconuts, they are cut flowers. Very, very impressed that is cut flowers is part of the export from Nigeria. Then there's ginger. And of course, there's also crude coconuts, right? And in terms of destination, they also give us destination of where this stuff is going to. I mean, technically, you're looking at the cashew nuts going all the way to Vietnam. So Vietnam is a big buyer of cashew nuts. And let me just get that report for you guys real quick. Vietnam is a big Vietnam, India, big buyers of the cashew nuts that Nigeria produces, and they're basically, that market is growing, right? India, Spain, the Netherlands, United States, and Indonesia. These are the main export markets that Nigeria essentially has for its products. Let me dig in and give you guys the exact countries buying the exact product. And I'm just going to bring in Mr. Emmanuel to give us more or less the practical side. And we're going to ask him, does he export this particular crops? If he doesn't, how can I, if I'm a novice, I've never done exports before, and I want to get into export. What should I do first, second, and third? How can I get into this export game? That's essentially what we're going to talk about this evening. We've got about an hour or two. Mr. Manuel is a very, very experienced guy. Let me have him introduce himself so that we can just start off. Mr. Manuel, hi. You want to unmute and just basically give us a brief intro about yourself, and then we can take it from there, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm on the road, but we can do this. Okay. I am Emmanuel Ajay. I'm an exporter for non-traditional agro products and also the traditional agro products. I do a lot of cashew, timber, coconuts, firewood, charcoal, sesame seed, fruits, yam, tubers, and essentially almost everything that is available within the West African sub-region.
Excellent, Emmanuel. Excellent.
Hello?
Yeah, we can see. We still got you, Emmanuel. Let me just go very quickly. So, Emmanuel, how long have you been exporting for? How long?
Okay, I started on a temporary base in 2004, but on a permanent base in 2000.
I think I lost you a bit there, Emmanuel. But let me just do this real quick before Emmanuel gets in, right? I was going to give you guys Emmanuel, I'm just going to give a rundown of the product Nigeria exports and where they're exporting to. And I'm also going to post just to give us an idea of where the market is, right? So guys, just take your notepads. Yeah, Emmanuel, I can hear you, but you were breaking up a bit. I could hear you, but you were breaking up.
Hello?
Emmanuel, I'm here. I can hear you.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Emmanuel? Okay, let me talk to the guy. Give me a second. I'm going to talk to you on the phone, Emmanuel, and then I can just do a breakdown.
Hello?
I can hear you. All right, guys, technology. Emmanuel, give me a second. I'm just going to give you some time to log back in. All right, guys, so let's get a notepad, right? I was going to give you guys this breakdown, which I think is very, very important, right? So for cashew nuts, like I said, cashew nuts are the #1 exports in Nigeria. The value of exports Nigeria is taking out about 21 billion. Nigeria is exporting cashew nuts worth 21 billion to Vietnam alone. So Vietnam alone is 21 billion, right? So India about 18 billion. 18 billion alone. So if you're going to get into exports and you don't want to reinvent the wheel, cashew nuts look like a good place to start from. What about sesame seeds? Sesame seeds. Sesame seeds. We're looking at about 9 billion exported to Japan and about the same 6 billion exported to China. So it's cashew nuts, then sesame seeds. But what about cocoa? So this is raw cocoa, raw quality cocoa beans. About 8 billion exported to the Netherlands and about 6 billion exported to Indonesia. Let me just say, I'm very surprised at to me, 8 billion for cocoa seems a bit low. Very, very low. 8 billion is just, and cashew is almost 22. So, I mean, if you add up 22 and 18, we're nearly looking at about 50 billion in cashew nuts alone going to Vietnam and India. So if I was going to export, right, and I didn't know anything, I would go where the road has already been paved, isn't it, right? Where I think it's already easier for me to export. So I might be wrong. I'm going to get Emmanuel to basically give me that answer, but I'm going to look more at cashew, at sesame seeds, and of course at cocoa. Emmanuel, I don't know if you can hear me right now and if you can speak. I think I lost Emmanuel. All right, guys, he's going to come right back. Let me just quickly jump in. I've got a few guys that have already requested to speak. I've got Chief Ugo Amaka, number one. Willie, long title. Antonia, is that you? How are you doing today?
Hi, good evening or good afternoon. I'm doing very well. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Excellent. Yeah. What did you want to talk about in export with us?
So I wanted to talk about the export opportunities for everyone in West Africa, right? I believe that we need to trade more. I understand that we have a lot of food insecurity, but I also believe that there are a lot of potential in that sector.
Yeah.
So I've been exporting for about 3 years,
and
all the products that you have highlighted are some of the products that I have been exporting. But I'm going to talk about cashew nuts. So I do think that it's so much opportunity. I don't have the figure, but I would use the figure that you have already shared with us. I think you mentioned about 40 billion in export value. So cashew is something that is consumed all over the world, but not produced all over the world. And it's sort of something that a product that people are beginning to consume more and more because consumers are more conscious of healthy options. So if there's anyone on the call, you want to go into exportation of agricultural commodities, I think that cashew is a great start. So it's also very, very, very high risk. It's any high gain product also is high risk, right? But then when selecting a product, talking about the opportunities, we need to look at what is the world consuming and what is my country or what is my state or village producing and in what form are they consuming it and in what form can I export it. The good thing about cashew nut is the fact that it doesn't really have so much, it doesn't require so much processing before you export, right? So it means that you just need to ensure that it's properly dried, the core quality, like the quality of the nut is good enough because we know that they are going to process it in those countries that we have identified, Vietnam and India, and then they then re-export. But for people who, like as a country, Nigeria needs to begin to think about how we can make export processed cashew nuts, right? Because we're selling raw commodities and there's no value in it. I know the value, when we look at the number, we say, oh, it's a lot, but it's actually not a lot. When you look at how much that particular cashew nut is being sold in the international market.
Interesting.
Before I'll just give an example. A metric ton of raw cashew nut, I would say last season was about 1,200 USD, right? But a metric ton of processed cashew nut is about 6,000 USD.
Whoa!
Yes, that's like, what's the difference? How much are we losing? And then again, in the cashew sector, what are we doing with the bulb, like the fruit itself, not the nut? So if you go to Ogbomoso, Awuchi, the whole places where we get cashew nuts in bulk, you will find a lot of wastage of the bulb. Can we also begin to look into processing them? What are for local consumption, domestic consumption, international consumption, what are we doing with the bulb? And so there's a lot of potential in export, but there's also a lot of wastage because we don't process and because we don't have the infrastructure that allows us to expand the value of our product. So I think that's why I would come in.
Great. Let me ask you a question. So you are based in Nigeria?
So I'm actually based in, I live in Nigeria, yeah. But I do travel a lot, but I live in Nigeria.
Okay, just if you don't mind, did you school in Nigeria? I'm trying to get how you got into exports. You schooled in Nigeria. So how did you get into exports? What was the pathway for you?
So it was just work opportunity, right? I've always been involved in trade, but I was selling hardware, computers, printers, and stuff. And I got an opportunity from a company that was looking to trade in Africa, and that was how I really started exporting. Yeah.
Gotcha. So is it hard for me? Like I haven't done exports before. I know nothing about exports, but I hear you say cashew. In my village, there's cashew. Is it hard for me? Do I need money or do I need skills? What is first for me if I'm going to do exports?
So you need both, right? trading is very, very, very expensive. Like it's super, super expensive, and you need to get warehousing. But skill is also, I'd say you need the skill first, right? So you can actually sell your skill, you can export your skills to exporters, which is actually how I started. So by the time I had realized that there was so much potential there, I began to work first as a broker for cashew nut. I understand the value chain. I understand how to source cashew nut. I understand how to check for the quality of cashew, load the cashew in the container, how to ensure that the container is well dressed so that you don't lose so much at sea. So I was able to sell that value as a service to importers from Africa, from the Asian countries that we already highlighted. So I would say skill. So because when you become an expert or sort of a specialist in a particular crop or commodity, you're able to monetize that. So skill.
Gotcha. Anthony, can I have you just hang around on as a speaker? I'm going to bring Emmanuel back. I'm sure lots of folks want to ask you questions. I already see some questions for you already on the tweet. One is asking you value chain pyramids, logistics, product gathering risks, and all that. Let me just hop back real quick to Emmanuel. Just hang on, Antonia. Emmanuel, hi, can you hear me now? Hi, Emmanuel. Hey, Emmanuel, if you can hear me, just go ahead and unmute. Okay, Emmanuel might have some technical issues. Let me hop real quick to Mazi. I've got Mazi Chinedu and Zeribe. How are you doing, sir? Mazi Chinedu, I hope it's not from me, guys. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Mazi, hi, thanks. Mazi, you're from Mr. What's up? How are you doing, sir?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, thank you.
Okay, no, sorry. I just wanted to, the last speaker, the lady.
Yes.
I've not done export before, please.
Yeah.
I'm just like novice like you. The question I want to ask is, someone who's not done export before, you want to start. What's the process? Where do you start from? How do you start? And then
correct. Yeah, I mean, Mazi, that was what I brought Emmanuel for. Like, thank God Antoinette is on the space with us today. But Emmanuel was really going to be the one to take us through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know anything, but I want to get into this business. How much do I need to export cashew and all that? So I'm mising Antonia. I want to sort of hear the questions. Or let me just go, Antonia, let me just ask you real quick. Just ask what everyone wants to hear. Antonia, you can unmute real quick, right? So let's say like the question Martin is asking, let's do cashew. Cashew is number 1 in Nigeria right now, about nearly 50 billion. Just in Q2. This is just Q2, guys. Going to Vietnam, going to India, right? And we're getting our status, our data from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. How should I start? What is can you give me a 1, 2, and 3, Antonia?
So I know that a lot of people, like I get this question all the time, I want to export. I think that the first part would be to actually research and understand the value chain, like the supply chain of whatever product. And then what are the comparative advantages even before you decide to start getting permits, so that way you know where you're going to play in the supply chain.
What do you mean by supply chain? What does that mean?
So from the farm to the aggregation to the warehouse to the the whole, how the crop moves from the farm to the, I would say, port of loading or to the final destination. They're like supply chains, right? So I think that you need to understand it first of all, understand the crop, and then find the crop. After you found the crop, understand the supply chain, and that's when you will then decide if you want to export or not. But exporting is not an easy business at all. Like, it sounds very interesting, right? And there's a lot of potential, but it's actually, food business is serious business, high risk. There's a lot of loss. If you do a lot of searches on the internet, you see how much of that maybe 40 billion that was sold was lost. People have lost a lot of money, because of the issues that we have in logistics. But so just do your research, find your product, find your niche, and then that's the first thing before you decide to start getting your permits. And then finance, like how do you want to fund your trade? Do you have do you have a bank that would fund your trade? Do you have an investment partner that would fund your trade? Because again, after you have the skill, you found the commodity, how are you going to trade? And then when you find the money and you find the buyer, how are you going to verify your supplier? Sorry, your importer. You know, a lot of scammers and scam. I've had issues of people who exported and the balance payments were not made, or the goods arrived at the final destination, and the importer would say that it was bad. How do you confirm this? So it's a whole lot. It's like a proper business plan that you need to have, from supply chain to the operational parts of the business to logistics parts of the business. And then I think that's where once you have that mapped out, then you can then decide to start getting permits and start sourcing commodities or buying from those who already sourced. Yeah.
What I hear you saying is that this is not a Twitter space answer. It's more like you have to do the research, understand how it goes from the farm to the ports. You have to get your financing. You have to understand international trade before you even start to go buy the first bag of cashew in local. That's what I hear you saying.
Yeah, correct. It's a whole lot.
Go ahead.
Company, right? So it's a whole lot of information that you need to know, so that you know. This is then include terms, what payments and methods, like packaging style. You know, it's a lot of information. But once you have all the information, and then see that you're ready to start.
I hear you. I hear you. And Mazi, let me just say this, right? I try to do. I wrote about import, right? I'm just going to post it on my Twitter handle now. I did a 3-part series where I talked about import. I thought it was going to be a one article. It was so much. I had to write 3 separate articles. So export 1, export 2, export 3. I write for Nairametrics once in a while. So I'm posting that link up there. And what I did, there are lots of links on that article, right? There's this great Nigerian, should we say, agency. It's called the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Let me tell you, those guys are very good. I was so surprised to see a Nigerian agency so on point. So, I mean, you go there and you can get things done. I'm not, no one's paying me to say this. I was pleasantly surprised to see them do what they are doing at such a high level. If you want to export, you really have got to do your homework, like Antonia is saying. So on that, I just posted the article for you, the part 1. If you go on Twitter, you'd see it. That article has got lots of links. You should read it. Go to Nigerian Export Promotion Council, register. They also have a step-by-step on their website. So they'll tell you step 1, do your research. And on the research, they'll give you links. For instance, cashew. You can go to NEPC. They will tell you what countries want cashew. Then they will even give you directories where you can log into cashew and see cashew importers, cashew exporters. So the point is, like Antonia is saying, you really have got to do tons of data gathering and know your stuff before you even try to export. So the article is there. If you go back to the tweet, I posted that article in there. Grab that as a Nairametrics article, go into it, do your own research before you even start. I see all the speakers. Victor, I see you. Mazi, I see you. But let me just try to get Emmanuel in so we can just have a talk with him, and then we can bring in the speakers. Emmanuel, I'm not sure if you can hear me now. Great, Emmanuel.
Hello.
I can hear you now.
Sorry for the mix-up the other time.
No worries, Emmanuel.
I am on the road.
Yes, we.
I want to pick up from where the last speaker started. I want to highlight one or few things that she mentioned, if time will allow us to do that. Okay, she mentioned cashew. Now, she was saying something like the processed cashew is about 6,000. While the raw cashew, if you sell it raw, you can get last season. It ranges between 1,200 to 1,600, depending on the grade of the cashew nuts. Now, even with the processed one, it's in grades. There are some that are up to 8,000 per metric ton. We have the W240, we have the W320, we have the W270. These are grades of the same thing, but of better quality that you can export and get premiums, good premiums for your product. Another one is this. She was talking about the bulb. Apart from the seed, she was talking about the bulb itself. It's supposed to be used for ethanol production. It's very rich in ethanol and other derivatives that it's good for the distillery companies. Another one is the one that we have not done anything about in Nigeria, which, to my surprise, is the shell. Some component of the shell is well sought after in the market, in the cosmetology market. They extract some byproduct from it that is very, very, very essential in cosmetic making. And I do not understand, with our vast growing cosmetic market in Nigeria, we've not been able to tap into that. It's a huge thing in itself. So on that basis, the full cashew product itself, there's nothing that is supposed to go to waste. Hello?
Emmanuel, we can hear you. Go ahead.
There's nothing that is supposed to go to waste in it. Now, the export business is a very tricky one. Before you look for money, you need to learn the expertise. Because if there's anything that can drain your resources if you do not know what you're doing, is the export business. Because your buyers will be expecting top-notch products. Anything less than that, you lose your money. You need to learn finance, payment methods, letter of credit, CAD, cash on delivery. You need to learn logistics. You need to learn packaging, preservation, marketing. Oh Lord, it's a whole thing. You need to, where you don't know, hire experts. Expert is not something you just want to do by yourself if you do not know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, you make a lot of money. But if you do not know what you're doing, you lose a ton of money. So the first thing is to be grounded. You read a lot, you keep reading, you continue to read, because there are best ways to do things that are evolving on a daily basis. The way things are done last year, if you do it like that this year, you're going to lose some money, or you are not going to maximize your profit. Cashew in itself is tricky. It's tricky in a way that if it is not properly dried, by the time you get to destination, it has started growing. And you lose money. If you have been paid, you lose the customer. And that is not something you want to contemplate on as an exporter.
Interesting.
So you need to be grounded in science. You need to be able to spend some little money to be able to make sure your processes are accurate. You need to double check on your testing methods. You need to double check on the humidity level of the product, because if you are not careful, the cashew might look dry, and if the period of shipment, it's a turbulent period in the sea, and fortunately or unfortunately, water waves gets into the container, I'm sorry, your cashew is going to grow.
Interesting.
And the quality is going to be trash.
Emmanuel, can I ask you a question? So
Yes.
if you look at the three top exports of Nigeria, there's cashew, there's sesame, there's cocoa. We know why cocoa. Why are cashew and sesame the number 1 and 2? What is special? Is it that they are easier to export? Why are they growing in export value?
Now let me tell you why cocoa is going down. It's about standard. If you look at the cocoa index there, you see there are two or three cocoa items: superior quality and standard quality.
Yeah.
If you look at it properly, yeah. It's because of the quality differentials. Now, the thing is this: there is no standardizing of quality in Nigeria for cocoa. And that is the difference with Ghana, the difference with Cote d'Ivoire.
Wow.
Because with Ghana, if your quality is not up to notch, you can't export it. The government is actually the only exporter of the superior quality of cocoa.
Oh. So,
yes.
So let me understand what you're saying.
What they want, they leave the remnant for you to sell at the standard quality. The standard quality is what you can sell. Now, the thing about this is this, and this is what because it's an election period. If there is anybody there who have the ears of people seeking for election, they should listen carefully. This is what we should do as a country. In fact, we started as a state, and let each state have export marketing company. I'm not talking about board. I'm not talking about just overseeing an export marketing company. Now, this is the thing. You form as an aggregator, as an agent, as a buyer for the farmers, and as an exporter to the international market. This way you can do volumes. Finances will not be a problem. Sourcing will not be a problem because your local farmers, you incentivize them to be able to grow more. You buy from them. Warehousing will not be a problem because you have the power of the state. Wastage will not be a problem because the farmers will be able to get good money for their product because you buy. Preservation will not be a problem because you as a state, you employ the best in the market, provide the best facilities, and sell as a company owned by the states. What stops each state from having a company like the NNPC for cashew in state like Kogi, like Imo, like Enugu, where there's abundance of cashew? What stops the states from venturing into cashew marketing in export basis?
So
the farmers are there.
So you are saying, Emmanuel. So have you finished these suggestions? I want to ask a question.
I'm not finished. I just gave a tip.
Go ahead.
Of what the suggestion is, but we can. It's not something we can just go into break it down in a bit. It's a full. If they are interested, they can contact us for free. We can give them the template on what to do. Because if Nigeria grow, we all benefit from it. So it's not something that it's not an idea that we are trying to sell. It's an idea we are trying to give out for free. If they follow it up, the better we are. So each state, if you are good in sesame seed, have a sesame marketing company. That's what Vietnam is doing. For rice, Thailand, the same thing. That's why you see so much of their rice everywhere. They use the power of the state.
So in essence, let me see if I can stop. So Ghana, in Ghana, they have a central export guy that does the quality checks before you are allowed to export. But Nigeria doesn't have that central quality.
For cocoa, you can't even export cocoa without government approval. The government is they buy from the local farmers, store it, bag it, preserve it, standardize it, and sell to the international market. In fact, let me tell you another thing. Even before the product is ready, the government of Ghana would have secured funding in billions, in several billions of dollars.
Interesting.
To buy the product from the farmers and sell to the international market. So now they will be dealing with big conglomerates.
Yeah, and getting the high prices. Got you.
With the power of the state, so they are no longer small. So they can get good price, good value, and they can deal with any issue.
Yeah, so this Emmanuel, thank you for highlighting this for us, because when you look at the export numbers, and again I get the export numbers right, cashew nuts are doing almost 50 billion. Sesame is almost 25-30 billion. Then you come to cocoa, and we all know cocoa used to be the mainstay of Nigeria's non-oil export, and it's almost a pittance. So thank you for actually giving this reason. It makes sense to have either at the state. Yeah.
It is about standard. The standard goes up, it goes up.
Yeah.
So because standard is low, so they are categorizing it as 1 and 2. The one which you get the best price for is the superior quality. The one which you get base level market price for is the standard quality. So you cannot have it like that and be able to get the best price for it.
Yeah.
That is the problem with the cocoa market in Nigeria.
I mean, cocoa is less than 30 billion. The superior quality, from the record from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, is less than 30 billion from superior. Sesame seeds they're doing better than cocoa. Cashew nuts in shell, more than 40 billion. Just that alone.
You know the irony of the matter is this: the cocoa price is going up; it's not coming down.
And we are doing less.
We are doing less.
So
cocoa prices are going up.
Yeah, that's a big call out. So Emmanuel, the question I really want to know was why cashew nuts? Why are cashew nuts going up? Is it that the markets are accepting cashew nuts, or Nigerians are exporting more? Why cashew nuts?
Okay, now the thing with cashew nuts is this: if you check the buyers of our cashew nut, they are basically Asian giants: Vietnam, India, and China. Now, most of the product you see going to Vietnam is actually going to China by road. Yes, they use Vietnam as a passer way. When it gets to Vietnam, they load their truck to China. 70% of what you see Vietnam buy lands in China.
Hold on, Emmanuel. Hold on. Sorry, just a sound check. Can you guys hear me? Just a sound check. Olumide, can you hear me? Just give me a thumbs up, Olumide. Can you guys hear me? Sound check. I got a DM saying we can hear. Can you guys hear me? Olumide, just give me a sound.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Victor, thanks. Yeah, so Emmanuel, sorry about that. Continue. Yeah. Someone sent me a DM. All right, go ahead.
What I'm saying is this: you see, for cocoa, for cashew nuts, they buy all the grades. LPS 42, 43, 44, 45, 47, 50, 52, 57. And this particular season, Nigeria has a windfall. Why? The market price of cashew nut came down a little bit. The international market price came down a little bit. So traditional countries that do better, like Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Conakry, they lost money because our prices were one of the cheapest in the market before. Do you understand the thing? The thing is this: 2 seasons ago, the price was around 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, 2,300, 2,400, depending on where you're looking at. But this season, the price dipped as low as even 1,000 for some people. But you see, the Nigerian market has been between 1,002 and 1,004 for a long period of time. So the market dipped this season, to meet the pricing of Nigeria. You understand?
I'm with you, Emmanuel. I'm just listening. I'm just learning.
I'm saying that the international market dipped to meet the same price that Nigeria has been selling, because quality-wise, Nigerian cashew is not that high, but price-wise, it's very good.
Oh.
But this year, the international market price dropped to meet the Nigerian market price.
Gotcha.
Disadvantaging countries with very high quality. So they were holding up to their product when Nigeria was selling.
Was that like a strategy on Nigeria's part? Did we plan?
It's just sheer luck. Value when the naira against the dollar goes down, you'll be able to, because you pay the local farmers in naira, per kg or per bag, depending on where you're buying from.
So, Emmanuel, I've been having this running argument with Nigerians about the weak naira, and I think you just confirmed it now that because we devalued, right, the Nigerian export of cashew became cheaper. Thus, the market left Conakry, Guinea, and came to Nigeria to buy. Yeah, this is the whole thing I've been telling Nigerians about the strong naira boosting exports. It's just one leg. It's just one leg of that whole. But I think you've sort of given us a good picture on it. I wanted to bring in. There was a guy that wanted to speak to you, Emmanuel, about cocoa. Wale Ogundare. He said he wanted to do a comment on you about that. He's just dropped off now. Let me just get Victor and some guys to just talk so I can let you speak, right? Let me get Victor. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Carlo. Yeah, so most of the thing I would have loved to contribute have been contributed by the first two speakers. And the most important one is that I don't think any Nigerian should wake up in one day and say, I want to do export. It's a very bad decision.
Yeah.
Three things are basically missing in Nigeria for the past 7 years, which is against export. The first thing is Nigerian Central Bank insistent on having the naira to dollar rate at 430, while the street market value is 700. So what it means is that when you go and buy the product, you are buying the product at 700, but when you are bringing back your money, the CBN will force you to sell your money at 430.
Interesting.
Which is why a lot of people have run away from exporting in the last 7 years. Every other person that is doing it now is committing a crime. It's my junior's brother's business, and I help him. We arrange for the buyer to sell, to pay the difference between 700 and 430 to a different account, which is actually a crime.
Wow.
If they don't do that, there is no way they can do the business.
Emmanuel, I want people to understand what you're saying. What Emmanuel is saying is really that, in Nigeria, we have two exchange rates. We have the official rate about 435 and the unofficial about 700. And according to the CBN circular, when you export, CBN wants you to sell that dollar back to CBN at the 435 official rate. But if you do that, it's not going to favor you because you can sell that same dollar at 700. So this is what's going on, guys.
You see that the value of our exports has fallen. What is really happening is that the money is not coming back. My brother alone does about $1 billion every year in cocoa and cashew. But most of the money cannot come back because nobody can reach to sell their money at 430. They will go bankrupt.
Can I come in a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
I believe the last person speaking was Wale, right? Wale, are you the one?
No, that's Victor.
I didn't get your name right.
Victor, Victor is the one speaking. Victor. Yes.
I believe you are from Ondo State, I guess, right?
I'm actually from Kogi.
Kogi, yes. Okay, good. You are in my house, so I can talk to you. Now the thing is this: our company was still very vibrant in 2014, 15, before this problem started. I used to do close to 300, 400, 500 containers from Nigeria as at that time. But I wouldn't even try it now. Now, what we do is this, that it will not be a crime. The same company you register here, it's that same company in Cotonou or in Ghana, at the holdings. Export from here, export from there, receive your funds in there, walk in with your cash or make transfer.
Committing a crime, Emmanuel.
Wow. I mean, this is Emmanuel and Victor, you remember we had a spaces on this when the CBN announced that new policy on trade. You remember we had a spaces on this when we talked about that the CBN is reversing to favor the exporters, I believe, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we were saying that it will cause
It's favoring the importers, yes. You cannot even sell at 430. You will go bankrupt in 3 months.
Emmanuel, let me get Emmanuel.
My second reason is this. Something is critically missing in Nigeria. Hello?
Go ahead, Victor.
It's called a commodities exchange.
Victor, don't we have what's that? We have Afex. Don't we have Afex?
We don't have a functional one right now. We only have one friend of mine, Akin, who's trying to set up the Lagos Commodities and Futures Exchange.
Wait, Victor, what about Afex? COMEX. It's called COMEX. Yeah, Commodities Exchange. Yeah.
They're there in name. You see,
really?
When you are selling a product or when you are selling something, you must control 70 or 80% of the participants in that particular market.
Really?
So those people don't come to you. You are just giving your own price. It's the same way CBN, who doesn't have dollar, calling dollar 430. Nobody listens to them because they don't even have the dollar.
Yeah, I hear you, Victor. But those guys are doing that. Those guys are doing some work with Victor. I mean, they have warehouses. They have a market set up. You can actually go in, log in, and buy maize or paddy rice on COMEX. I mean, I have an account there.
Onam doesn't deal with them.
Yeah, but they are working.
Doesn't deal with them.
Okay, I hear what I mean.
These are the major.
Can I make a comment, maybe a clarification on what Victor is saying, because
go ahead.
It's a bit mixed. Okay, just to make some clarification, my name is Ibrahim. I'm calling from Gombe. Mr. Victor, regarding what you were saying, that CBN will not allow you to sell at higher rates than official rate. It's actually, I don't know where you got the information, but for all exporters, when you receive your export proceeds, you either have you have two options. You can sell it on what we call I&E window, which is the normal CBN rate, or you can sell it you can cash in and sell it at whatever rate you want to sell.
What does that mean, cash in? Explain that cash in, please.
The I&E window, you can get, this RT200 rebate. You get 65 naira on every dollar on any $1 proceeds. While if you sell it at the other market, that's not on the official market, you get 35 naira as a rebate. So you actually have an option. It's not under must for you to sell it.
Ibrahim, add 430 to 65. What does that give you?
No, what I'm saying,
that gives you 495. That still does not cover the 700 that people are ready to buy.
What I'm saying, you have an option. Yes,
can I comment, Ibrahim? We are not saying that technically the options are not there, but you cannot walk into any bank in Nigeria now, even export proceed, and tell your bank you want $10,000 in cash. You won't get it.
No, it even has to go through NCX. You must have an NCX form. So you cannot even touch the dollar.
That is
true. I don't know what Ibrahim is talking about.
But what I know is that there's a circular from the central bank saying you must bring the money back.
If you need 10,000, they can give you 2,000 or 3,000 at most.
That is true.
So how long are you going to go about that? How do you do business with that kind of setting?
Ibrahim, please hang on. Emmanuel, I want to get Wale to quickly just make a comment to you, Emmanuel. Just real quick. I know he's been dropping off and on. Wale. Sorry, that's Wale. Wale, if you can hear me, yeah. Wale, go ahead.
So it is Wale. Thanks a lot, guys. I think a lot of people, the information that you guys are discussing is very relevant in Nigeria. The cocoa business, as you guys have talked about, which is the one I just want to say a few things about. It's a very lucrative business, and the number one thing about the cocoa, if you know that business, is that it is run like a cartel. Everybody seems to be skipping over that issue. You just can't get up as a Nigerian and say you want to go and do the cocoa business. It doesn't work that way. You must know the insiders who are playing across the value chain. You must know the farmers. You must know the people who really are in charge of those things. are the chairman of the major states that deal in cocoa. Now, from the research that we did, we just did one comprehensive research. Cross River is number one. Ondo is number two.
Really?
In this country in terms of total. Yes, in terms of total output. There's an area called Ecom in Cross River. If you want to see cocoa in Nigeria, go to Ecom.
No longer southwest.
5 hours. Ecom is about 5 hours from Calabar.
Wow.
All within Cross River State. They have never traveled 5 hours within one state before. But I did it in that axis. So if you want to see real cocoa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. If you want to see what is going on in cocoa, go to Ecom. Now, the point is this. The guys who are doing that business, like I said, they are very protective of it. That's one. Two, all the talk of affects won't work here because what they check are just the international prices of cocoa. Now, three, the guys saying that, the export business is a major issue when it comes to cocoa. They're extremely correct. Extremely correct. The guys who can make money from cocoa, who are the exporters, are guys who will have their export proceeds being put in some other account offshore, away from all the mess going on in Nigeria. You can't have those funds and then be trying to repatriate it as a Nigerian, you will go bankrupt. Wow. So what a lot of the guys have done, when we were talking to quite a number of people, is that a lot of those who are trying to play in that export space, they left. All of them came back into Nigeria and they started working as guys they call aggregators. So they were all aggregating and selling to the major exporters. Somebody mentioned Holland. That's one of the major exporters. In fact, that's the number one exporter of some sort of processed and unprocessed cocoa out of this country. Number one. So, and if you look at how Olam operates, Olam is in so many countries. So, you can't tell Olam what to do with his money or which account they should pay which money. So Olam tends to go past all of this. What is my simple advice? If you want to get into that business, and like I said, it's not something you wake up and go into. There's so many walls. The guys who do the business, they are very closely knit. You can't even go and talk to somewhere like Ondo State. You can't just go to Ondo State and start talking to farmers of cocoa. The guys who are aggregators will sue you. If you go to Cross River, where a major hub for whatever, all of their farmers are somewhat tied at the apron to the guys that they call aggregators. And a place like Cross River, you find out that I was speaking to the DG of the Cross River Cocoa Regeneration Agency. They have close to about 5,000 acres of cocoa land that nobody's doing anything with. And here we are saying we're looking for money, we're looking for dollars. There's so much money in that business, it is unbelievable. That's why you will see the guys like, and let me say put something on record, even though they will deny it. The guys that people mentioned earlier on, these Olam guys, they fence people from doing this business. You can take that information to the bank. They will fence you, they will block you. They will tell the farmers and the aggregators not to sell to you, and that is the end. So when we discuss Nigerian issues, I like to address it from a point of we are in a systemic distress. Each time we look at these issues and we're trying to solve one issue, we can't solve one issue. So many issues that are intertwined, such that while you are trying to solve one, you create another problem here. While you are trying to fix it, because all of those things are intertwined. Listen to this last thing I said. Maybe you made some few billions, you're going to do some business, and then you say, let me do cocoa. You can't, even with your billions. And the guys who do this business will tell you that we have more cocoa than money. It's a money-driven business. So some of what the guys are saying is correct. I just decided to share this information because people need to be aware. Nobody should start having this idea that there's money in this cocoa, let me get it. It's a lie. You will go bankrupt.
Well, so people like I and Mazi that just want to enter with just 10,000, 100,000, we should just, what should we do? I mean, because I want to, I'm no. Oh my God. Come on, guys. So what?
Quickly respond to Wale.
Yeah.
one of the information is half right. It's not completely correct. The Olams and the Cargill and the what's this guy's name from Netherlands? They are the big players. They are the people that process internationally and they also buy locally. Now, what really happens in most cases is that most of those farmers at the beginning of the season already got loans from them to buy chemicals, to pay their farmers, and to do things. So they are already owing them before even the cocoa starts coming out. So it's not like they are stopping people from buying. It's like it's already a commitment, which is where something like an exchange will work. So if you have a futures trading exchange and force everybody to be part of that exchange, then it will create a level playing field for everybody. But of course, in an exchange, there has to be a quantity like a lot size.
Good point, Victor. Good point in terms of the futures market. Antonia, your hand is up.
Let add something to
I want to. Okay, Emmanuel, when you're done, can Antonia just hop real quick? Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Okay, please. Okay. The first guy spoke about Olam and the rest.
Yeah.
Olam are the bad and the good guys at the same time. The thing is, Olam as a company, they bring in the chemicals themselves. They sell this product. Use this product to tie down the farmers to contracts. Most times at base rate. As in base rates that you cannot wriggle out of. So in most times, the farmer is even owing more than he can supply at the end of the day. So when you are owing and your produce cannot even pay fully, how can you even have something to sell to other people at a higher price? That has been the issue. The thing is this: in some countries, Olam is there, but they give them a slot. They should not do more than this quantity to allow the rest players, the small, the middle size players, to be able to have a bite size of the market. Fine. Sometimes, if you want to get into cocoa exports in 5 years, your journey starts today. You start with the farmers, you grow with them, you plant with them, finance them, ready to throw money at the business and throw time without getting anything in return for a few years. Then you have bought their loyalty, you have won them off some of the big players to your corner, and you can be able to, they can help you bring in more farmers to your side of the market. That way you grow. It's not something that you are expecting that, okay, I have $1 million, I just want to put it into the market today, and tomorrow morning I am expecting this XY amount of cocoa in my warehouse and I want to sell. No. You should be ready to play with 300,000 for them to get seedlings. You should be able to play with this for fertilizer, play with this for their students' school fees, play with this for the community development projects.
I hear you.
That's what you are sowing seeds in their hearts. That in 2-3 years, they will come to you and tell you, listen, we know. What can we do?
Emmanuel and Wale, I have a question before I bring in a...
Don't say to Holland for the next 2 years, I'll give you whatever they are giving you at best price.
Okay.
That way they grow, you grow.
Emmanuel and Wale, I have a question before I bring in Antonia. A real quick question, right? How did Cross River become #1 for cocoa in Nigeria? It used to be Southwest. What is it? Did the government do anything specific?
The only problem is that most of the Ecom cocoa was smuggled into, Ecom is not close to Cross River. It's actually closer to Enugu and what's the other state? It's closer to Enugu and Makurdi. Benue. It's closer to Enugu and Benue. So most of their cocoa have always gone to Enugu and Benue into the Southwest. So that's why nobody has recorded them before what did their governor say? They now make proper investment to stop people from coming to take their cocoa from other states.
So it was a deliberate state action, because it can't be number one just by error. It was a deliberate state action to move them where they are today.
No, let me just add one more thing. Sorry, guys. Let me just add one more thing. A lot of about 20-25% of the cocoa, and you'll find this very interesting. 20-25% of the cocoa stacks that will come out of Cross River actually comes in from southern Cameroon.
Yes.
You know, because they share between Ecom and the southern Cameroon border is less than 15 minutes. And there's a lot of cocoa in southern Cameroon. So what you find is that a lot of the guys in southern Cameroon also route their cocoa right into that Ecom. That Ecom is like it's like a hub. I think that's the best way to put it. It's like the cocoa hub of Nigeria, because that's where you find the greatest, highest concentration of cocoa being planted and being harvested. So people are beginning to see that if we take our cocoa in here, we can sell a lot. That's why when I was speaking with the DG of the Cocoa Regeneration Agency in Cross River, he was telling me with confidence that sometime between the end of this year and about middle of next year, they will be doing comfortably somewhere between 150 and 160,000 tons of cocoa per annum. Because today, what they're doing is around the 130,000 tons. But he's saying they're really, really going to be upping, because they're encouraging all those guys from particularly southern Cameroon, where there are a lot of volumes, to bring it into that Ecom as well.
So Wale, it's deliberate. It's the deliberate action by your state.
Can I? Yeah, it wasn't by accident. It's a deliberate action.
Can I brought it? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. When he said it's deliberate, that is true, but it wasn't just deliberate. It was opportunity that makes expertise at the same time. Now, for years, you see Midwestern merchants in Ecom, Southerners in Ecom, buying from them. They normally move most of the cocoa products from southern Cameroon, as I said, into Ecom, and they buy from there. And so most times it is not registered in their name. You understand what I'm saying? It's not registered in their name. But the thing they are doing there now, both the one coming from southern Cameroon and the one they are producing, luckily, they have a very good quality. Now, you see the superior quality we're talking about. It is the one that you can get the international market price for. When you have that quality, you get premium price. And you are very cheap in the market. So, now the opportunity was there before, but the government now deliberated and made steps. If you listen to what it was, the name of it's a regeneration. It's a regeneration agency. It means that they were trying to work on something that they've been doing that wasn't working. And it's now working for them. If they can do 160, 170, 180, that would be huge. Because that would be huge. Because you see, even in countries like Ghana that do about 1 million per annum, if we come alone is doing about up to 200, that's about 20% of what Ghana does. That would be big time if they can sustain it.
Which governor is this? Which governor is this?
Donald Trump.
Was Duke? Wow. Mazi, your speaker is up. Mazi, did you want to say anything?
No. I was just trying to tell him the name of the governor.
Okay. I think it's very interesting.
The last thing I would like to point out in my 3 points, Kalu. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
The last thing I would like to point out is that all this our debate about cashew, about cocoa, in fact, to just quickly drop this point, our actual biggest export is shrimps.
Shrimps?
But nobody's talking about it.
Wow. I don't see.
We did about $700 million in shrimps last year.
You know, I've heard about shrimps, king prawns, and all that going to the US, but why doesn't it show up on our report?
There is 125 hectares farm in Badagry that is done by Atlantic Shrimpers. It's actually Nigeria's biggest non-oil commodity export.
So why is it not captured? Do you know why it's not captured?
Well, that's a story for another day.
No, but if you know, I would really love to do a story on this guy that we're exporting 700 million and it's not being shown up anywhere. This is the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. I know king prawns. I've heard a story about, it was in Wall Street Journal or so, how Nigerian prawns, those massive prawns are in
Nigerian prawns is the prawns
Walmart, everywhere, yeah, they're all over the place. But it's not showing up on the statistics. Maybe
I'm telling you that this is a story for another day.
Victor,
so what I want to say in my third and final point is that we're actually failing if we keep focusing on this unprocessed commodity until we get government action to get every single one of our commodity into process, because every agricultural commodity is 10x when processed, minimum.
Sure.
So you need a hectare of farm to give you 3 tons on process.
I hear you,
but
guys.
You can only make an average of like $1,000, $2,000. But in that same 3 tons, you can make up to $25,000 if it's processed.
You don't have power.
Yeah, someone wants to talk about the shrimp market. Please, I want to hear about the shrimp market, please.
I banked that client as a banker, right? And I think a lot of commodities like that in this country, they go under the radar. A lot of them go under the radar. What that means is that you don't have the authorities, right, garner a list of what is done internally. But you have foreigners come in, do it, export, and it goes under the radar. Thanks.
Hold up. Can you send me a DM with the name? Just send to me. I'll post it on anonymous. Just send to me the name, whatever you can share. It will be anonymous. I will post it and I'll ask the questions.
How come, guys?
No, Ibrahim, hold on.
Is it check online? It's not hidden.
No.
It's Atlantic Shrimpers.
Yeah, but how can we say? Because I know the export in I see Walmart. I see their
my own area is please. How can somebody who is just a novice like
we're getting there, Ibrahim.
This business,
Ibrahim.
How do you get buyers? How do you get genuine buyers? Because I like one of the speakers mentioned earlier. There are a lot of scammers, and you need to do your research. For some of us here that are already exporting, how best do you get buyers? Genuine buyers from either India, China, or Vietnam.
Okay,
for any commodity.
I want Emmanuel and maybe Antonia to answer. Antonia, can you hop back in real quick? I think you dropped off. Antonia.
Hi, yes, I dropped off, but I'm back now. Before I answer his question, I just wanted to say to those listening, I think someone had said they had 100,000 naira and how would they start? So if you don't have a lot of money, as everyone has already highlighted, please avoid trying to export all the commodities that have already been mentioned. Cashew nuts, sesame seed, cocoa bean, they are not for you. Cash crops are very, very expensive and they're also very, very high risk. For younger people who insist they want to export, I would advise you start with exporting processed products in smaller quantities, chili pepper. I know someone who's actually exporting mushrooms now in very limited quantities. You can do this in like really small quantities by contacting smaller retail stores in the country of your target, whatever country you think would request or require that product that you want to sell. That would be something for you to do.
Wow. So we shouldn't don't get into. Just to be clear, don't get into the high value exports if you don't have money, more or less.
Just don't. It's very expensive. It's like saying I want to start selling cars or I want to do it really, really expensive. So please avoid it.
Okay. Go ahead. And then go ahead and answer. Ibrahim wants to know how he can sieve out scammers and get genuine buyers for his products.
Okay, so personally, I'll just talk about my approach for free for everyone listening today. So I personally do a lot of cold calling, right? So cold emailing. So research, like I do speak with a lot of buyers on a weekly basis, and I also spend a lot of my time reading journals, reading articles. That way I know what buyer or what country to target. So when I call a buyer, I know exactly what to say, or I know what to pitch. For example, so when you know your product, it's easier for you to actually get buyers. So I'll give an example. If I wanted to talk to a buyer of a particular, let's say soybean, I wouldn't say, oh, come buy soybean from me because I have aggregators or all that stuff. That's not what I would say, right? So if I went to LinkedIn, for example, and I found the procurement manager or import manager of an oil processing company, and I already determined from their website, from their profile, that they use soybean, my pitch would go somewhere like, I could help you save XYZ amount of money through my network, blah, blah, blah. So it just depends on once you understand your product, it's not easy. I'm not here to say, okay, when you do that, then he would answer you, but I'm saying it makes it different from what the other people are saying. So I do a lot of cold calling, and I also understand that for every 100 emails that you send, if you get 10 responses back, then you're doing a good job. So spend a lot of time understanding your market, spend a lot of time contacting people, changing your pitch, knowing your value proposition. Another example I would give would be potato. I was reading an article about an importer in Netherlands that I think on Fresh Plaza. There's a website called Fresh Plaza. You would see a lot of sponsored articles. I do that a lot. I was reading an article of a guy, and I just reached out to him. I knew what his problem was for importing potatoes from Egypt. Luckily, I had to cut.
Yes.
So luckily for me, I was actually working with a producer of potato in Ghana. So I knew what his problem was. I knew what he was saying, and I pitched him based on have you considered other African countries? I realized that the harvest season in Egypt and the country I was proposing were different. So I could say, you could have all your supply, whatever that gap was. The gap in the article was the fact that he's not able to have consistent supply because of the production of Egypt. So I was able. So this is exactly how you get high profile buyers, right? So you want to sell value, you want to let them know that you understand something, the market, and that you're offering a solution. It's visually easier for you. So it's not like, oh, I have soybean, come and buy, or I have potato, come and buy. So I think that's how you can get buyers. Spend a lot of time on the internet, find buyers. There's so many resources that can help you identify those who are already importing, whether from your country or not, but you would find those resources. And then again, once you're already in the sector, spend time. If you have money, if you're able to be in spaces, be able to travel and be in spaces where you would find people like the actors that are in the value chain, right? Travel to, I think there's Agra, I see Agra going on in Rwanda now. You need to be in those spaces. You need to be in exhibition. There's Fruit Logistica. There's a lot of exhibitions that you have to be in that space with your product value proposition, and you meet these people one-on-one. Is usually very helpful. I know that NEPC and other like GEPA in Ghana, they sponsor smaller traders who do not have the financial, who cannot sponsor themselves. They don't have the financial strength to be able to travel to this exhibition. So just spend a lot of time finding these opportunities, applying for these opportunities, and then putting yourself in that space. So it's a lot of work, but I do think that people ignore cold calling, and cold calling works for me. I don't spend any money on advertising. I just cold call, and it has been good for me.
Interesting. Thank you so much on that.
Can I butt in on that?
Yeah, sure.
Because,
sure. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Antonio. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
In response to the guy that said, how do you get genuine buyers? Okay, the lady that spoke, she did well, but at kind of arrangement is for the techie guys. Do you understand? And it doesn't work in every circumstance. Now, the thing is this. Earlier, what we normally do is this. If you go register with the Chamber of Commerce of those countries. If you want to sell cashew nuts, go to the Chamber of Commerce of the Vietnamese embassy, register with the Chamber of Commerce. Sometimes you spend less than $300 or $400 to do this. You're a member, you're certified. What this means that anytime any buyer comes from that country to seeking products of that nature, they send them your profile to contact you. Now, the difference is this. Now, you are going to become highly recommended. This way, you can determine your price and payment options. You can determine the way you want to be paid. You can determine the way you want to be paid, where you are not the one soliciting, where they can easily tell you this is what we are paying. You take it or leave it. Here you are highly certified, and they know that because they know that you come highly regarded. Now that is one. 15, 14, 13 years ago, what we normally do is to place advert in big journals, magazines, trade magazines that are read worldwide. Now, there are some adverts I've placed. Then those adverts were extremely expensive at that time. A full page can cost you about £4,000, 3,000, 3,500, depending on what you want to go with. The adverts are placed like 15 years ago that is still getting me buyers today. You see those big hotels you go into, you see magazines at the lobby, you read and you see some pages and stuff. I've got deals upon deals upon deals upon this from that. But you see, the state we are in now, we don't place in advert any longer. We work with trade houses and commission agents. Now, for India alone, I have like 5 trade houses I work with and commission agents who bring in daily orders. Turkey, the same thing. I don't need to begin to tell them that I want to pay. I even give conditions that, you know what, I want 80% cash up front. Deposit, then 20% against LC. You know, you'll be able to control the market that way. But for the guys looking for genuine buyers now, I will only tell you one thing. Go with trading house, commission agent. The thing is this. You don't pay them anything till they give you a buyer, till the transaction is successful. So it's in their interest to be able to bring in the buyer, make it structure the deal, and get things done. For them to be able to get paid their commission or fee. So you can work with that. And you yourself can, like you said, go to shows and stuff. But if you really want to hit the ground running, trade agents and trading houses will get it for you. One trade agent can give you 40, 50 buyers as far as you can deliver. The more you deliver, the highly placed you are. And because the trade agents, the trading houses are in their country, they can walk up to them and place their order with you. And you can sort it out one way or the other. So I hope I was able to help a little.
Yeah, I would just like to add one more way. And look, all these things that they have said is good, but if you are from Nigeria, you will meet a lot of frustration. So my own approved way, if I have to advise a young person who wants to start export from Nigeria, is to go and do apprenticeship from somebody who is already exporting. So that way, they know you with somebody. You have dealt with them for 3 months, 6 months, maybe 1 year. So when you tell them you have opened your own firm, it's like what all the people who we call VC, they do. The way they start their career in another VC. so that they've handled transaction, they've done this, and then one day they call all the LPs and say, look, we're starting a firm. So they already know your capacity, they already know your honesty, they already know everything about you, because dealing with foreigners as a Nigerian right now is actually frustrating. I won't lie to anybody. Trust me, even people who've known you for 20 years will question you.
I think that's very, very good advice, Ibrahim. And Ibrahim, don't forget that if you go to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council website, like I said, they will give you actual addresses of the trade houses, of agents. It's right there. If you go to their website, go in there, you will see literally directories that you can go to that are registered and all that. So don't forget to also go to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council website. Anthony, what you add something? I've got Anthony, I've got Vashni. Go ahead, Anthony. Your hand is up.
Yes, I want to quickly add on what the other speakers spoke about doing business in Nigeria, that it's really, really hard. So I think everybody knows, whether it's agriculture, whatever sector you're in, Nigeria is the hardest place to work in. Something that you can do to navigate, particularly when I speak, I'm actually speaking to people who don't have so much money or don't have as much experience. Don't ignore what the internet can do for you, what relationship and the network on the internet can do for you, can help you really. And if you're also you're trying to spread, do not ignore your West African neighbors from Ghana to Benin. If you can work with trading partners or exporters or farm networks, whatever you decide to work with in those countries, it gives you an added advantage. From payment terms to sourcing to seasonality, please build your network. Spend as much time as you can to also, for someone like me, I really don't know how to put out personal information, but I like to build my social network in terms of my trade, without putting my face to it, and it's working for me. So however it is that you want to be able, do not ignore it. Networking helps you. There's a lot of scammers from the buyer side, from the supplier side. There's a lot of distrust. People don't trust you just as you don't trust them either. So when you're working in a network, when you have that support, it really, really, really would help you. So I just wanted to add that. And then also on the brokerage side, for you to be able to have brokers, I think as one of the speakers said, that you must have built some form of strength, right? So I currently do have brokers that I work with in Egypt, Netherlands, Singapore, and recently Dubai. But for me to even get those people, they came to me because these were people who mostly were working in some of the companies that had exported. So and then they'll reach out to me to say, oh, Antonia, I'm starting my own thing. I could help you get buyers and I'll get a commission. So it would happen. But for you to start, it's your responsibility to find buyers from your room, from your office, wherever you are. It's hard, but it's very, very possible for you to be able to do that. And you can actually do it if you spend a lot of time knowing your business, your products, the opportunities, your market, and the whole supply chain and value chain. Then you would be able to really have a value that you can sell, attract buyers, and then you can scale from there.
Great points, great points. Vashni, you want to hop right quick in, Vashni?
Oh, yes. Good evening, Carlo. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay. The network has been bad. I've been driving. I just got home. So if you notice, I've been going off and on the space. First, I got in where there was a conversation on cocoa. So I wasn't too clear, but I got what Victor was saying. I think Emmanuel as well. But I guess the space is not just on cocoa, because I had this export experience, a very bitter one. I was exporting Koso wood. I think it was called Koso wood to China and Vietnam. It's a kind of special timber that it's still being exported to China and Vietnam. Till date, I don't know what they do with that wood. I only presume it was furniture. But from what we heard, they use it for other things. But this was a bitter experience I had. I was doing that. I was making a lot of money in dollars. I was doing it through a friend who was like the broker. He's the guy that goes to the bush to bring the wood out to Shagam for loading and all that. So I was more like a financier. I just bring money, and the business was going until the PMD government came, and there was a temporary ban on export of processed timber. It was called, and that temporary ban caused a lot of wood was on the ground. Then we saw the Chinese who were selling to coming into Nigeria, going into the bush to buy this thing to process by themselves. Can you imagine? You are in the forest, you are negotiating with the loggers. A Chinese man has spotted trouser is negotiating too, and they were buying and buying. They had more money. They were buying and buying. It was only our Igbo brothers that could match the Chinese.
Wow, I think did we lose you?
40 feet content 10,000, depending who was buying. The Chinese were buying it. They were buying it at $8,000 here locally, and they kept buying even while the embargo was on. They kept buying. We didn't know what was going on. Somehow we heard that their government intervened, and some people intervened with the government. The ban was lifted, and boom, all the Chinese purchase just went into the Vietnamese market and Chinese market, and it crashed the price. In fact, I lost over $15,000 at that time, So since then, I've been shying away from anything export. If I hear export, I'm running, because I'm thinking, how will government policy affect my business? Because the government, not just this government, Nigerian government, there's always this knee-jerk reaction, and you don't always know the motive. They just change things without, like the border closure, right? They just change things, and at the end of the day, they don't care. They don't know. People are losing money. I lost money, a lot of money. My friend lost almost 40 million. Another lost 100 million naira, not dollars. I just made some sales, so I was able to claw back some money, but I lost $15,000, and I ran away from export. So my question is, how assured this Export Promotion Council, how assured are they, to protect exporters from government knee-jerk reactions like what I had? Thank you.
I mean, your experience is essentially what the speakers are talking about in terms of there's so much fluidity, especially in Nigeria, that it's just difficult. I mean, cash reserves would help. But I would say NEPC are just an MDA. I don't think they make the laws. What they are doing, that I've seen them do, is that they are making the process better. So if the government passes a law, they make the process for it to go from where you are to where you want to export a lot better. Like I said, go to their site, their website, and see what they've done. But they don't really make laws or rules per se. I mean, Mr. Wallowa used to be there, I believe, and it's a great, one of the best MDAs that Nigeria has actually produced right now. They're doing a great job. They're not paying me. I'm just saying they're doing a very, very good job. So, I mean,
Kalu, you know what happened?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
What happened was that when PMB came, they thought that they wanted to be serious about export, so they bought Yewande Shadiku from Standard.
Oh, not NIPC, not NI. That's a Nigerian Investment Promotion. I'm talking about the Nigerian Export Promotion. So, you're talking about the Nigerian, you're talking about the NIPC, Nigerian Investment Promotion Council. I'm talking about the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Those guys are pretty good. They've got lots of information on their site. If you ever wanted to get information to export, that's where you should go to. Let me get Jay. I've got Jay, GI Joe official. How are you doing? Thanks for waiting so much. Vashi, thanks. I'm sorry about your experience. GI Joe, go ahead. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to hook back in. Jay. All right. Jay is not available. All right. Emmanuel, did you want to speak a bit about what Vashi was talking about? The way policies really just threw you off. You know how he got in. I mean, you do timber as well. You do charcoal and all that. I know we spoke about charcoal the last time.
Yeah. Yes, he was talking about Koso wood.
Yeah.
It's a highly sought after wood in Vietnam and China. They use it for furnitures and also railway sleepers. They use it for railway sleepers mostly and furnitures. But The thing about it is, most of the countries around are banning it. In the form which is being taken out. I understand his experience, and I've witnessed something like that myself. I've experienced something like that myself that made me lose some money in that particular sector. It's all good and all being said. That's why I was saying earlier that this is electioneering season. If we want to really get it right on exports, it has to be done on a large scale level. Now the thing is this: what I'm saying to whoever cares to listen is this: let each state look at what they can do with exports in their own states, make policy law, get an export marketing company owned by the states with private sector interest in it to make it seamless. Now you see this issue about policy, about ban, about this and that will be cut off already because we are dealing at the highest level. You see this issue about finances, about aggregation, getting the farmers to play ball with you. You can be able to stand toe to toe with the Hollands and co. and play ball. That's another thing. And as the government, you can incentivize them with whatever they need as a farmer, promise them market for their product, get the things in, still being able to for your farmers, improve the economy of the state, and bring in forex and export. The farmers are busy. The middlemen are busy. The government is getting taxes, the economy of the state is booming. The farmers are getting paid. Laborers are getting paid. Transporters are getting paid. Logistic companies are getting paid. The hub, it becomes a hub. Every state should look at what they have. How do we export this and get premium for it? How do we do it better? How do we? Because see, if the state is interested, the training for the farmers should be better. The seedling will be better. Finances, the issue of getting finance for the farmers to be able to do what they are supposed to do will be cut off because the state will be sponsoring with an agreement that you are selling your produce to me and at the market rates. The government is happy, the citizens are happy, the farmers are happy, everybody is happy. At the end of the day, the economy of each state begins to boom. And I'm talking about complete chain. I'm not talking about just redressing it. From production, processing to exports. The 9 yards. Get everybody involved.
I think that's a good plan.
Can I add something?
No, Victor, let Greg come in. Victor, Trendstone, go ahead.
I want to speak a bit into what Vashti said earlier on as regards timber, right?
Yeah.
And also add one or two things to what Emmanuel is saying. I have my own experience as regards what Vashti was saying, right? I got a transaction from the United States. There's a friend in the United States who had a friend in China, and they were trying to open an LC for I think $500 billion United States dollar for timber, right? And it was coming from Taraba State. And that timber I think it has specific uses and it's specially grown. I think they can only find it in Taraba State in Nigeria and I think in Germany, somewhere in Germany, right? Now, the same thing happened to me and it was good at not even putting my funds to the transaction. And from the banking perspective, what I thought was good was I would take that letter of credit from the bank in China through my friend in the United States into a Nigerian bank, right? Discount or probably get my own money here, right? Go into the forest to get the timber, right? Now, during that transaction, the same thing happened as regards the Chinese. And the Chinese, they had their cash ready and available, right, to go directly to the farmers, to the owners of the farms and timber or whatever. And they just jump the gun. The cash goes. They don't want to get anything about whether you have funds in the bank and all those kind of things, right? Cash limitations happen. And then secondly, there's an association as regards the loggers and everything. Apparently, we discovered that because of the uniqueness of that timber, right, there were complaints. And these things are of national interest, I must say. They are of national. It's just like you guys, you have the guys down south, right? They're not able to fish anymore because the IOCs are taking the crude out of the soil and they're exporting it. These things are for national interest. No state, wherever, should sit down somewhere, right, and devise whatever means of making money for just the state alone. It's for the country as a whole. So there are federal institutions.
What do you mean by that?
Have policies in place.
What do you mean by that? What can you explain better, please? Just so we're clear. Are you saying that, for instance, Cross River State shouldn't really do their cocoa? Can you explain that more clearly?
Okay. Will you say Delta State should only export their crude?
But the law allows. The law says that the crude is owned by.
National. So
okay. Hold.
When it comes to that state, yes, the states become more commercially viable.
Yeah, but the law says that the crude oil is not owned by the state. There's a law already that says the crude oil is not owned by the state. What about cocoa?
Every state will wake up one morning and say that, the national resource of its own state, right, can and will not be shared by the general.
Okay, but who owns the land? The land of Cross River is owned by.
And guess what? You have some minerals, right, that some states up north tap, and they take out of the country without any tax. Their tax.
That's wrong.
To them and every other thing, and they almost become individual related transactions and not to the state entirely.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
There is no monitoring.
That's wrong, right?
That I think was the problem. Everybody does things individually. It's like just individual transactions, and there has to be some form of stream. There's some form of regulation. If there's a federal body that manages it through the states, yes, we know what comes to the state, and the government will tax it some level.
Okay. Emmanuel, you want to say something?
Can I put it?
Now that Taraba wood, let me just pick the land. That wood, I just wanted to mention this, right? It's unique in the sense that there was no replanting. They've harvested almost everything down that belt, and they're not replanting. Oh, the species has not become a threatening species. It's become a threatening species.
Emmanuel, I think you want to hop in real quick?
Okay. I just want to hop in on something he was trying to say. Listen, I do not know of any law that stop, let's say, Ekiti State from planting maize, processing it, and exporting it. None. We are not talking about the extractive industry here. We are talking about agro-business. Agro-business, where they engage farmers, just like the Kebbi rice and etc., etc. There's nothing stopping the state from engaging their farmers to do X, Y, Z, to plant, cultivate properly, process, package, warehouse, and market it in a large scale to the international market. Nothing is stopping that. Okay, I'm not talking about extracting something from the soil. I'm talking about actual agricultural business. Okay, so we should mix both together. Nothing stops. Do you know the pain as a Nigerian who is one of the biggest exporter of yam to the world? Nigeria produces 70% of the yam, but we do not export anything out of it. None. Nothing. So most times I export Ghana yam, and the volumes I'm doing, if I have access to do that in Nigeria, I can do 10 times my volume for yam. But you see, the thing is this: the Nigerian yam, as plain as disease, has a bad name in the market because of government like a attitude. You can actually quash this issue easily. But because you see, the government tried to do a facelift and sell some yam, and I don't know where they get their advice from. It was not packaged properly. It got there. It was bad. So what they were trying to do to save face cemented the fate of the industry entirely. People buy my yam with made in Ghana. I make money, but I cry. Do you understand? I say, yeah, made in Ghana, yam, labored all over it. I make money, yes, but I cry. Because you see, in order to sell, I'm propagating Ghana market. And market, where I'm from, which are the biggest producer, has nothing to show in the market for it. What stops Benue State from going to 9 yards and exporting the yam that we know that they have, the quality we know that they have, and conquering all this posterior inspection and certification issue with their might? It's a win-win for everybody. So what I'm saying is this: we should stop how we can extract gold, extract oil, and all that, and look at what we can do. There are countries doing far better. Listen, we buy oil, palm oil, vegetable oil from Malaysia. These guys came to 94 in Edo State, the research institute for oil palm, to study.
I think I lost you, Emmanuel. I think you're off. But let me, Emmanuel, you're off a bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Your audio is off and on, but I can hear you.
I'm saying the Malaysians came to NIFO in Edo State, the oil palm, Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, to understand what we are doing about 30, 35, 40 years ago. And as I speak to you, we actually import the same produce they come to understudy us from them. Doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah, if we do that, we won't be the free market economy.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to do what they want to do, but I want the states to start playing.
I think so. I think I agree with you, Emmanuel. There has to be marketing boards.
In a free market economy, the state has only one role.
But even the US, Victor.
What you can say is that they can pre-qualify a big number of people, 4 or 5, based on the quantity, and license those ones to be the exclusive players. Because when states start participating in business, they cannot tolerate competition. So
Victor, what we're talking Victor,
land rights. They are going to cancel people's CFO.
No.
They are going to cancel people's right to do transport. So
no, I don't think so. Sorry, guys, I don't think so, Victor. I think what the state should do is to coordinate, leave the land owned to the people, coordinate, get the fertilizers, get the produce, market as one unit. So all the Southwest farmers sell to one state marketing body who negotiates higher price. That's what I think Emmanuel is saying. Not to go in and do the actual farming, but the coordination, just like the US does, right? The US is capitalist, but they always have someone looking out for their interests, either as a private marketing board or as a state-sponsored marketing board. But we just can't leave everyone doing suboptimal, you are doing very well, but I'm not doing very well. I think we should have one general, or should we say one state body doing this international marketing for us. Hey, Busayo, what's up? Thank you for waiting. Busayo Adejumo. Hop right in, sir. I've got Busayo, I've got Ade, I've got King Soul. Let me just get you guys all in here. Busayo, can you hear me? You want to unmute? If Busayo is not ready, I've got Ade Ohulua. Ade, hi. You want to unmute? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I hope we can make this sort of forum a lot more consistent so that we do it regularly. So as regards Mr. Vasni's experience, I think one thing we can strive to do is to sort of have a local market alternative. So like if you look at almost all the countries that export in Africa, sometimes they get 30-40% of their commodities rejected, just due to cosmetic rejections. So if you can find alternative uses to the same product that you're exporting internationally, when that international market gets clipped, either by COVID or something else, you know that you have some sort of alternative. You might not get the same ROI, but you know that you have some sort of backup plan.
Are you saying like local use?
Yes. So it might not be the same. It might not be used in the same form, or it might be alternative uses for the same commodity.
But I think we're talking about like exporting to get the dollars. So I think that's where we're trying to get to say, okay, how can we?
Yeah. So for instance, let's say there's a border closure or there's rejection in, let's say, Europe.
Yeah.
So maybe West African neighbors, or maybe even locally, if there are alternative uses, you can repurpose that commodity and then market it to that market.
Okay. Yeah, but let me take the conversation right back to the very beginning, guys. We're looking at the Q2 Nigerian trade report. We're looking at import and export. We've seen that the export numbers in Nigeria are going up. Cashew nuts is leading. Then sesame seeds, then cocoa. We've learned a lot here now. I've learned now that cocoa is now a south-south product, not really a southwest product. I've also learned about the weak naira boosting export volumes. I had come here myself to learn how I could export and earn dollars, but I've been told it's not possible. I just can't jump in and just start to get these export volumes really immediately. I've got to learn the ropes, learn that value chain, if possible, intern, the corporate intern, if possible, with an exporter, so that way I know the ropes. And if I want to do cash crop, I really don't have a lot of cash, might not be the best way. I might have to look at maybe stuff like chili pepper and target a smaller, export footprint. So I've learned a lot, right? Let me just try and get folks that haven't spoken to speak, and then we're going to try to start to wind the spaces down. Lots of learning so far. Thank you. Talk to Headman. Go ahead, sir. I don't know if you've spoken.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're very welcome.
I'm actually an agro commodity trader.
Okay.
So when I see this space, I was like, wow, it's a very good platform for me to be. Yeah. And first of all,
could you speak up? Your audio is kind of low or distance. I think you're using a hands-free, but it's kind of echoing.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you clearly, but it's just low. Still there, sir? Hello, sir. Are you still there? Let me have King Solomon Pet drop right in. Olamide, if you're there, I'll hook you back in. Don't just get clear. King Solomon Pet, are you there? Okay, King Solomon is there, so I'm going to take him off. Let me have OG Rich. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's a very good opportunity that I think every Nigerian needs to actually look into, as we know what it is. But for me, it is better for us to process those commodities before exporting them. We all know the value of cashew in Nigerian markets, which has been one of the best agro commodity that we can even trade. I can remember myself when I started cashew, sometimes 2018. What I do majorly is to middle between some Indian partners in Lagos and some Nigerians.
Yeah, I think you're in the matrix. I think I lost you just a bit. I think you're in the matrix. I must have lost you. So let me get OG Rich. That's one RG. Well, Olamide, I can't hear you if you're speaking. So if you can speak, just I'll hook you real quick back. But I can't hear you now. Audrey Rich, you want to hop in? Okay, you're back. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Company, I think it's from is it India also?
Can you hear me? Talk to Headman. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We lost you for a bit. I don't know if it's just me, but I think we lost you for a bit.
Okay. Let me come again then. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I said when I started cashew trading, I started as a middleman between an exporter and local farmers. So what we do basically at that time is probably source for people that wants to sell cashew, and we can link them up to our agents in Lagos. It's very good. Even we that were just at the middle of the trade, we made a very fantastic amount of money at that time, which I believe a lot of people are still doing it. And even in other parts of in other commodity as well, the same pattern is still applicable. Once you have a contact of an exporter, you look for someone that wants to sell, you link them together, and you probably get your own commission. We range from 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 per metric ton. You understand? Which is very, 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 very sweet. You know. But for me, I think from the angle of a Nigerian or our government, we need to do more in processing all this commodity to just exporting them. You understand? For example, there is this company in Lagos, Valency, which are into processing. They're not Nigerian company, and I think Julius Berger as well. They've actually built up a factory somewhere in Ekpe to be processing cashew. I think they started cashew purchase last year, but I think this year they want to start processing. I don't really know if they've actually commenced or not, which is a very good way for us to go. I discussed few things with my friends as well, that agro or farming should not be a peasant farmer activities alone. There is a kind of model that on my own, I thought of it. And I think if we have a government that can actually think in this direction, it's going to help us. Due to my nature of business, I was in Benue State for a couple of months. I knew how many raw materials are available in Benue, from paddy rice to sesame seed to soya bean, you know, a lot of cassava farmers, yam farmers, and so on and so forth. I asked myself, oranges everywhere. When you drive through from Makodi to Castina, all their villages, you know, I think I bought tangerine one day, a very big tangerine, a full basket, for less than 300 naira or 200 or 150, I can't remember. Just like a foreign tangerine that I always buy in Lagos. So this is just for you to know how best we are blessed in the country. But to my surprise, there's no company that is processing all these oranges in Benue. They only load them in their trucks and take it to Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and so on. So there's a lot of wastages. Why are there no companies to process this raw material within us? Why is G Exotic has to import, process, what's the name? Process orange ingredients for them to produce an orange drink for us in the country, where we have a lot of oranges, mango fruit wasting in all these villages.
Yeah, a lot of processing is just wasting. Completely agree with you. Yeah,
just wasting.
Yeah, and again, if you look at the way we are, the number one, where cashew nuts and in shells is number one export, right? Cashew nuts shell number two. It's nothing really processed, like Antonio was saying. You know, the buds and all that. We just take the raw stuff, bag it, and then we send it abroad. That's really what's going on.
And that is way is a big loss for our economy. We think we're getting forex, but we're just waiting. Let me tell you something. In processing cashew, if you have, I think it's ratio 3 to 1. If you have a raw cashew to a processed cashew, by the time you process 3 tons of a raw cashew, I think you have 1 ton of a processed one. You understand? After removing the shell and all that. Each of the processed cashew depends on the sizes. You understand? Does not cost less than $7,000 per ton. And how much are they buying raw cashew from us in Nigeria here? How much are they buying? This year is just something above 500,000, which is just a bit more than $1,000.
Makes sense.
More than $1,000. And
Yeah.
that is, if we have, it means our 3 tons to ratio 1, it is just like $3,000 compared to 7,000. That is multiplied by 2.
Yeah.
And that is for a small size. That's like W320. So when you have a bigger knot of cashew like the one we have in Ogbomoso, you understand? Because Nigeria have one of the best species of cashew in the world. When it is season, you started hearing all these Indian guys saying Ogbomoso cashew. You know, a very good quality, big nut and all. So it means we're just getting $3,000 instead of getting $10,000.
That's the point Emmanuel was making as well, that, you know, drawing on that whole government of the value chain, the specific species that we're exporting, we're really not tapping. And I think this is the part where if we had this marketing board, someone that can say these are the type of seeds or the exports that we want to see. Someone to direct the effort. You know, like if you ask me, cashew is cashew. I don't know what's different between this or that. But if someone tells me, go plant this, and we're going to buy it from you at this price. You know, there's land in my village. And someone come and tells me, right now, the international price for cashew is X. It's going to take your cashew 6 months to harvest or whatever. Go and plant this. We're going to give you the seeds. We're going to give you the fertilizer. And in 8 months, we're going to come and buy it from you. I'll go and plant it. But if you allow me, I'll plant cassava. I might plant cocoa. I don't know what to plant. I don't know how much it's sold for. So there has to be coordination. That's my point. And it goes back to what Wale, Emmanuel was saying. There has to be this statewide coordination. We just can't do it individually.
Exactly.
I think that's my take from the matter. Wow, guys, almost 2 hours in. Do you want to add anything else? We're going to start to wind it down.
Sorry, I just want to add one thing.
Go ahead. Well, yeah.
I think my challenge with and this is just ranting now. My challenge with Nigeria is that over the last 30, 40, 50 years, we haven't had any sort of bird's eye view thinking in the country. You see, for me, 2 things which you use to drive any economy successfully: your macro policies and your micro policies. And a lot of Nigerians don't seem to understand this. A simple Google will help a lot of people if they read up on how a country can use her macro and micro policies to drive a lot of things. 90% of all the things we've discussed this evening, if Nigeria has any sort of sustainable, concerted, and stable micro policy, Nigeria will be, will be better than Dubai and all of these places. The problem is the self-centeredness right across from the state level. So whenever anybody is saying that, why isn't the state doing this and doing that, I just laugh. Most of the governors who have come here, they're just there to do whatever they want to do, make their own monies into their pockets and leave. Nobody is looking at that macro view. And, this goes back to what I think Kalu just said now. The ability to look at it, from a bird's eye view and sort of divide up the country into sort of, call it concentration points for certain kinds of commodities. I did a bit of work back in 2012 between Benue State and Kogi State, around rice and cassava. Those 2 states can feed Africa. I'm not now talking of Nigeria, West Africa, or whatever. Between Benue and Kogi State, I was somewhere in those states for about 3 years. Those 2 states can feed Africa with rice and cassava. I can bet anything on it. If you have that kind of resource just staring at you and you're not doing anything about it, this was far back in 2012, it says a lot. So when I see a lot of people today and a lot of conversations that go on today, it's all about politicking and not necessarily about how to use those policies to drive, what do you call this thing now? To push for the betterment of the average Nigerian. It breaks my heart. We're a country that is so blessed beyond measure. That's one. 2, somebody mentioned about Julius Berger having a processing facility, but they actually opened today. They opened up.
Yeah, I heard that news. Yeah. So is it that they're going to start? I'm suspecting they're going to start to take barter for infrastructure. That's what I'm suspecting long term. Well, don't go off. You got the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was just saying that, if you look at Julius Berger as an institution, an institution who we know for building roads, all of a sudden they are now into agro processing. You must ask yourself that
what are they saying?
An infrastructure giant has all of a sudden come here and then they're starting to play, and they're not playing small, they're playing big. If you go and look, if you see the factory in Ekwe, it's a massive factory. So it tells you that they're here to get into that good processing for the longer term. But for me, all those are the big boys. For me, how can the average Nigerian get involved? It's simple. It's just by stable macroeconomic policies. Let me hand off the mic by saying just one thing. We spoke to a lot of farmers in Benue and Kogi states, about why they're not exploiting a lot of the land that they have. So much land, so much very fertile land. You know what this guy said? He said that the ability for them to clear the bush, just to clear bush, that they didn't have the capacity to clear the bush that they needed. So we went and asked the government that, why aren't you clearing this bush on behalf of these farmers, get into some sort of arrangement? And then the government went and they imported some funny tractors that kept on breaking down. You see, Nigeria's problem I've seen is us. Because this was a simple problem that we saw. We told the government what they needed to do. And then somebody in that same government went to buy some substandard tractors that couldn't even clear a hectare without breaking down for a month. How then can you begin to tell Nigerians that, everybody shouldn't get involved in saying we want good governance as a country? I yield the mic.
I mean, it's. Let me also give you a story. I heard the past Minister of Agriculture, Adesina, that's the name, right? He went to, I believe when he became the minister, he was going around on tours of this agricultural establishment, and he went to a place and he saw like hundreds of tractors just parked there, just parked. He asked, what are you doing here? Oh, they have to write memo from this to this, then DG has to approve. So DG has not approved. So on the spot, he said, bring me all the memos, and he signed them all off and asked them to be distributed. I heard he went back. They were still there. The tractors were still there. Oh, when you signed, the DG has not yet given those civil service terms, nothing gets done. Tractors are imported, they are parked there. Irrigation machines are imported, they are parked because that's someone's power. I have the power to give you this tractor. So if I give you, I've lost my power. So let me keep the tractor there. So you have to come and see me and Dobale before I give you a tractor. You're right. I mean, it's the same thing we see. But Antonia, people are asking me on Twitter again, right? What specific product? Because you've killed people's hopes. People wanted to come and export. You said people should not export cash crops. People are asking me on Twitter, okay, what are these other cash crops that can go into? You mentioned chili pepper. They are saying, okay, and what else? Because people want to see if they can start to do small bargain, put it inside a plane, send to their sister in Houston or Atlanta or Scotland and just sell. So apart from chili pepper, is there any other product, maybe you and Emmanuel, that I can go into my small 100K and start to export, maybe earn $100 is something, So can you guys maybe give us a few other products that we can get into with 100,000 naira? I want to go into export. Inflation is 19%. Antonia, over to you, please.
So I don't know if there's any product that you can do with 100,000 naira, even in Nigeria. It's really small, right? But
okay, 500,000, 1 million. Let's say 1 million.
Okay, let's say 1 million. Yes, that's a fair number. So I would say look at a product that is consumed around the world and then that is also consumed mainly by Nigerians, right? We have a lot of people living in the country, but look at what do people always eat, even non-Nigerian. I don't like to sell for Nigerians in diaspora. I think a lot of people want to sell catfish, want to sell egusi. But what you can also look at is eggplant, like it's highly consumed, right? Everyone eats eggplant and people are looking for more healthier options. Another one would be, I would say, okra. Okra is a great commodity. So I'm just saying these products off the top of my head, but these are things that are highly consumable, right? So okra, and I know someone who does okra from Anambra State actually, right? He takes it to Europe. So it's not like these are not doable, but don't just go and say Antonia said and start. You need to spend a lot of time to understand what the risk factor is. For these products that I have mentioned, they're very perishable.
Can you say it again, please? That's eggplant. Eggplant is what we call, what they call that? What garden egg. Antonia, say the way we know it.
Ones, like the one that we cook and we eat.
So garden egg. Which other one?
Yeah. I said okra.
Okra.
I think okra, what we call okra, what we used to make okra soup in Nigeria. I also know that people are doing a lot of oranges. Right?
Wow.
Oranges, but orange is kind of complicated, but people are doing oranges. And then you also have people who are taking mangoes, right? Out of Ghana. I know that mango is big out of Ghana. So just do your research. You really do spend time looking at these commodities that you have in your environment. What are the risk factor? What is the storage? I look at products that you have. Limited storage, is affordable, and that has direct flights or direct shipment from wherever you.
I know Emmanuel does mangoes. Emmanuel does pineapples. Emmanuel does mangoes. I see how he packs them, and I think he makes some good money from just mangoes and pineapples. I've seen the pictures of him doing those exports. Yeah. When you say orange, just like the raw orange, right? The raw ones. Okay.
Also put in carton and exported. So I also do pineapples. So if you're also here, you want to buy pineapples, maybe I should just pitch myself now. You want to buy a pineapple, but out of Ghana, I could actually let you know, share with you cooperatives or smallholder farmers for free actually that you can actually buy from. And then finally, if you're an established exporter here, you're a trader here, you understand the business and you've been trained in, and you need funding to scale, please reach out to me. I work with an investment company that is offering trading and funding to exporters, but you must be experienced. So if you want to start, you might not fall, you might not qualify for it. But if you're an experienced exporter, funding starts up to 1 million for first transaction, and it could be increased for second and third transaction. So
Antonia, say what you said again, just for put at the back. Just say it again.
I say if you're an experienced exporter, right, you've already traded, you understand the supply and demand side, the buying and demand side, you understand everything, and you've exported before, and you're looking to scale. So, for example, you're trading let's say you're doing 1 million USD, you're doing 500K USD, and you want to scale. You already have buyers, but you're limited by fundings. The banks are not answering you. I'm actually working with a funding firm, and they are giving African exporters up to 1 million USD, but you must be experienced. So this is not for you want to start or you want to learn. Because of the risk factor, you do not qualify for this. So you can actually send me a DM or reach out to me. My email is actually in my bio, and I will just tweet it again.
And Antonia, if you send me any information, I will retweet. So if you send me any information, both you, Emmanuel, Wale, whoever is speaking here, whoever is into exports, if you have a training, you have something you want to share to people, please send to me. I will retweet it on your behalf to folks. I know Emmanuel and I have done training for exporting. Emmanuel took people step by step with pictures. I mean, Emmanuel was taking a picture of the ship. People were seeing the ship on the high sea, the containers going from where he was exporting from to the destinations. People were getting paid. Antonia is also coming to speak. So if you're on the space, or if you just do export and you want to share something to folks that can help them to get into this space, send to me as well. I will do that retweet for you. So Antonia, whatever you send to me, I'll do that retweet on your behalf, right? Just want to clear out the folks that want to speak. I've got two folks here, and then we'll start to wind down. So I've got Ntong, BS Tongs. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Mr. Carlo. Good afternoon, good evening.
Good day, sir.
Thank you for the space.
Yeah.
Yep. Seriously, I sometimes maybe when you are searching for something will be actually be searching for you. I saw the space after I tweeted something, because let me just give you a.
You got to be very quick. We're about to wind down.
Yeah. We started something accidentally because a friend of ours was actually looking for snail. So he asked us to actually, help him out. So from him consuming to gradually him, getting it for his friends, overseas, of course. So from few kg to, 50 kg, gradually to hundreds of kg. Guys, that thing now we are looking for every way to scale it. Seriously. There is money in skill. Like people that are actually looking at what to do and how to pick on one or two things there. Well, you may not have experience and other things, but just do your own research.
I hear you, sir. So do your own research. I gotta wind you down if you don't mind. I've got one more guy to speak, then we'll sort of do closing remarks. I've got
in fact, there's money in
Global Igwe. Global Igwe, you wanna unmute and go ahead and speak, sir?
Okay, good evening, everybody.
How you doing?
Okay, so what I wanted to add, hello.
Go ahead.
Okay, what I've been hearing everything that you guys have been talking, and it is actually very, very nice. So, but recently I was thinking about this particular thing that we are talking about, because when you come to Nigeria, apart from oil, one of our major, one of the advantages that we have over many other countries is we have a very fertile land. And I was thinking about it. I was saying that, okay, China, what China is doing, what Alibaba started doing with China is he created a market in China that anybody from outside Nigeria or from outside China or any other place can actually go online, buy, and the thing will be shipped to the person from China. And for me, I think that should be something that we should actually be looking at, because we should create something like a market where people from many parts of the world can, something like the market would be like an interface between maybe the vendors, the local vendors or the local manufacturers and the external world. So where somebody, even the people that are in the country can actually go to that market, a digital market, buy something and the thing will be delivered to them. Or somebody from outside Nigeria can hear of the market, go to that market, buy something, and the thing will be shipped to them. So for me, that is actually the direction I'm thinking. I'm thinking towards, because
you're gonna wind it down. I'm not really sure where you're going to with this. How to do with export? Let's be quick.
Yes, how it deals with export is, people from outside the country can actually come to that market, request for that product, and the product will be shipped to them.
Okay, more like the logistics part of the whole equation. Gotcha. All right, I hear you guys. I hear you completely, right? So, guys, I think it's been a good discussion, right? I like how we ended up with Antonia saying, "Listen, we have ways that we can finance you if you are more like you are skilled and you want to get bigger." So she's talking to folks that are already doing exports and want to get bigger. Emmanuel is always there. I mean, I know this guy I would say maybe this year or last year, and I consider him very, very good friend now. He is very, very knowledgeable. That's Emmanuel that's right there, right? On anything to do with export. Very practical guy. If you want to do exports, you want to add him and you want to then talk to him on your own. Very practical guy, right? I like it when people are giving money away. To say this is if you want to. I like it that they're giving money away and they're giving you opportunities to get into this space. I see lots of questions on the Twitter space saying, "I want to get into this. I want to get into that." What I've taken away is that you have got to do your research and your homework first. So you can't just hop into Cashew. You've got to do your homework first. I would say if you have the time, look for a guy you can go work with and understand how they do their job. How do they move containers? Where do they do their sourcing? From what we've heard, is very, very complicated. I also recommend you go to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council website. Try to go to that website. They literally have it labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps or so. What you should do from doing your research. They have mock, Excel sheets where you can plug in and see if what you want to export is actually profitable. They have places you can go in there and find buyers. You can do market research on what you want to export. So for instance, if I'm in Ohafia and I have cassava, I can go to that website and find out where cassava is needed. I can also go and say, okay, what should I export? If I want to export to, say, Greece, I can say, what does Greece want? And it will give you there on the website. Very, very detailed. So you get what you want to export, or you get what you have to export. You do your costing, you do your financing, you do all this even before you commit 1 naira. You go learn, and it's only after you have done this, then you start small. Maybe you finance someone doing export and you see the way, because you've seen guys on this space talk about they were financing exports. You finance exports, get your feet wet, and if you want to just stop at the financing part, that's also export. If you want to go ahead and do the full exporting side, i.e. you go to the hinterland and get the products out and export, that's also export. But you've got to know what you're doing. There are lots of risks, guys. You heard the guy say they bought timber, the government changed policies, they lost a lot of money. You need a lot of finance, you need a lot of knowledge, and you need a lot of reserves to do this. But it's something I think anyone, especially if you're Nigerian, should do. But most importantly for me, what I took away from this was hope. Imagine a president comes in today and the president maybe heard this speech and heard that it is possible to go to one state, clear that one state out, start to farm cocoa, make that cocoa high quality cocoa and export. And then the villagers and that town earn in dollars that 6,000 or say how much $1,000 in exports of cocoa. Imagine if you do the same for soybeans, for cassava, i.e. ethanol. What are you actually doing? You are creating wealth. You are bringing in remittances back into Nigeria. You are creating local jobs. You are creating a local rural economy in Nigeria. That's how you create wealth. That's how you make the naira fall from the 700 it is right now to a value that is more manageable. You're creating rural jobs. People don't have to leave Ohafia to Marina. People can stay in Ohafia and export cassava and make an income and make a life. This is what I'm hearing. So it's not impossible to do. Agriculture, we've had a guy say 2 states can feed Nigeria. We've had a guy say 5 hours driving cocoa farms. Now, we didn't know much of this before the spaces, right? So I'm just saying this has got to be a full court press from the federal to the state to the local to the individuals. It is possible. People are doing it. We've seen what Ghana is doing. We've seen what Cote d'Ivoire are doing. Why can't Nigeria do it? So it's not impossible, guys. I just brought a few guys here just to give us snippets of what is possible. And we'll see that a lot is possible. So let us end here, guys. We say thank you for all the speakers that have spoken. Lots of offers have been given. Let's see if we can take it and then run with it, right? Let me leave you guys with just this to say, fortune favors the brave. If you don't do it, then you can't earn it, right? So I'll let you guys go. Obi, thank you so much for hopping in and just doing the job at the back end. Obi right there is the co-host. She does all that, sharing tweets, co-rating comments, adding and unadding people. Sometimes you get busy. She's just doing that job at the back end. I appreciate you fully. All right, guys, thank you so much. We're going to shut down the spaces in about a few seconds now. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you so much, and bye.